Hi, everyone. This is Tommi Vincent, your host of In Her Words podcast. And today, joining me at the table, we have Tamara Washington. Tamara is the founder and executive consultant at Boom Media and Image Consulting. How you doing, Tamara?
I'm feeling great. I made it to the end of the week.
I am grateful for the opportunity to have you at my table. We've had an opportunity to get to know each other throughout the years, and so I know how you are really leaving your fingerprint on the world of sports, and you are not only making it happen for yourself, but you are responsible for making it happen for others as well. And so I want to talk about that because it's one of those things where we have a focus of purpose and intentionality for ourselves. And then in your role, it's not even about that for you. It's about the purpose and being intentional for other people. How are you able to do that successfully and successfully do that for yourself?
That's a good question. You're my Oprah. It's a deep question. Honestly, I just have to say it. I have to pray every day. I truly have to seek God. I think the older I've gotten and the more I've been in this business, the more people that I meet that are successful, that have been in the business for 20-something years, you have to be very strong in your spiritual man because it's a lot that comes with it. It's not just the athlete. It's the athlete's family, it's the athlete's friends. And so you're not just a publicist to them. You become a counselor. You become the prayer partner. You become any and everything sometime to them because they are entering an unknown world. They see things on TV, they've heard things, and they think they have an idea of what it's going to be. And it's the shocker. And so you have to help them navigate that. So with all of that and you having an understanding of this, it helps you understand, okay, what do I need to do to stay calm and to be me and to stay in my happy place and not take that negative energy on and what comes with that. So my morning routine is important and it's something I can't break. It's something I can't break. I have to get up. I have to pray. I have to read my word and I have to meditate. It's the only way I can kind of start my day. My workouts are not always consistent, but those three things really, keep me focused so I can tackle the day and stay in this calm place to make sure I can not only be my best self to Tamara, but show up for my client as well.
Mm-hmm. So you said something that I really think it's worth exploring and going a little deeper. And you talked about experience. And experience is life's greatest teacher because you acquire some wisdom along the way and you get some knowledge and understanding of the process and how to do things in life. And I'm sure there are some things that Tamara of today would not have tolerated, would not have experienced, when you first started out. So can you give us a couple of lessons in that area? So for anyone listening who is lacking experience, but that can benefit from your bought sense because you already paid the price.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing is when you're in this position, you have this dream of, oh my God, I got to work with Tom Brady. I want to work with this. So that's what you think. That's what you think. And what you're not understanding is when you work with certain people, certain things come with that. And you have to be ready for it. So the biggest thing that I've learned how to navigate is understanding that yes, I'm hired to do a job, but I also have a brand. I'm also a person. So they're not just choosing me, I'm choosing them as well.
That's good.
This is a marriage. And so not feeling so intimidated in being secure in myself, understanding my value, and understanding that this may not be a good fit, and I have to be okay that it's not a good fit. Just because, it's this big person it's not a healthy situation. And so that's when you have to, think about yourself. When I was starting, you're trying to get in everybody's face. You're like, you're like the little hustler. You're just like, give me a job. And so, so you're taking everything that comes with that. And it's like, once you are able to build your brand and position yourself, then you stop and you're like, I don't want to put up with that. I will eat peanut butter sandwiches today. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And so I think that becomes the challenge, because this is such a competitive industry to be in. And everybody's trying to either go after the same talent, same business, and not understanding it's enough business for all of us.
Yes.
But it's like and you have people in the industry who will do anything to bring you down. So you're trying to position yourself and build your brand and build your name and make sure no matter what and who tries to attack you, that you're solid. So you can position yourself to say, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to take that on. That is not worth my time today. So I've learned how to be comfortable. And I think the first time I did it, it was kind of scary to me, because I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? Oh my God, that was a really big check. Oh my God. And I was really feeling all this anxiety because I walked away. But then I was like, I felt so good, because when I was in the situation, I couldn't sleep. It was one thing after the other. The player was disrespectful, and it was like, but because of who the person was, I was feeling like I have to. And all I kept hearing was, oh my God, Tamara, you signed such and such down, and it's so you're hearing that, and it's like, well, what will people think of me if I do walk away or I don't work with that person? Do they look at me and they don't think I'm not as powerful and I can't do the job? So that comes with it. But when you surround yourself with good people and good mentors that can be a voice for you in the room, that's going to stand all the time. And you can be okay walking away.
Well, I can imagine early on for anybody, if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting your business, the paper is thin. And so you really do need the opportunities, because this now is your livelihood and you are the sole provider. And so you need ways to produce revenue, so it's not easy to walk away from a client, even a difficult one. So are there other ways that individuals in your industry that they could be thinking about other streams of revenue so that they have other ways of generating income in addition to building the rosters?
I think unfortunately, it had to happen a couple of times for me to get it. But I think I had to hit rock bottom, call my parents and say, my rent is due. To, really understand it. I didn't have anyone in my family that I could go to for advice who had their business. And honestly, I realized when I started my business, I wasn't really surrounded by the people who had gone through this. And so I had to make adjustments about the people that I was talking to and consulting. It wasn't that I had a bad circle, but they were more professionals working for corporate, so they really couldn't advise me on how to make those adjustments. So going through that is when I realized, okay, I have to be creative because this is not always promised. And also I had to understand what that looked like. So the biggest thing for me is when I take on an athlete, I'm looking for what's off the field. And it's not only for me, but it is for the athlete as well, because I tell my clients, you're one play away from being done. What does life look like? And so what I want to do is go in the same services that I can offer a client and make him this spectacular guy on the field is let's take those businesses and grow them too. That's more money for you. So we're also making sure we offer that service to him as a brand and individual, but also to his companies and help grow the companies. And then as an individual, making sure that I'm creating my brand. People recognize me as a thought leader, being booked for, speaking engagements. PR is, I always say, it's the entire package. I can't have my clients showing up looking crazy for a red carpet. So I start styling guys. That's another, stream of income. So it's just also getting creative. I didn't realize how passionate I was about the philanthropy side too, and just creating different partnerships and ways for guys to do more things. So again, that's another stream. So you have to, when I'm sitting down with a client, I'm not just sitting and looking at stats and, is he a superstar? What he's going to do is, I feel like the athletes who are successful after the game are the ones who took authority when they were in the game. Absolutely. And if you can get that athlete who understands that if I position myself now, if I use my name and likeness to shake hands with the CEO of, these large companies and take internships, take business meetings, because they're going to do it just because you're an NFL player. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've recognized. Mm-hmm. I don't care what your name is. Yeah. They're like, you play in the NFL? Yes. Because they understand how difficult that is to get in the NFL. So these owners have a different respect, especially for NFL athletes. So helping them position them that way, making sure they're doing the best investments possible, understanding the investments they're doing. Mm-hmm. That's important. I don't do investments during season. Doing that, it has created multiple streams, and I am not falling apart anymore and calling my dad. Because now we've created something that can grow. And now thinking about it, I have more retired athletes that have stuck with me once they've retired than I do current athletes. Mm-hmm. And that's what you want. Yes. Or you're going to keep starting over. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, prior to you launching out into the deep, becoming an entrepreneur, you have extensive experience in the news business. How have you taken your experiential knowledge from that industry and moved that over into what you are doing over at Boom to be a benefit to your brand as well as to your clients? That's a good question. So my clients sometimes are like, can you take your producer hat off? But it's because I look at things in a different way than people do. And in news, they tell us, don't believe anyone, don't believe anything. So even if we're like, but no, look, the commissioner said, news teaches you how to keep digging, to really find the story, to get the truth. It helps me with my clients. So I'm like, you're lying. I know, and it's because, I'm learning their body language. I'm learning how, they'll talk to me on certain days. And so, but it helps us build this amazing relationship where they can trust me and they do feel comfortable in talking to me. But also it's positioned them to say, you know what, let me stop and think if this is the right thing, because Tamara's already told me, this may not be good for me. So on that side, it's really helped. But also, I'm always investigating things. And I started my business management firm 3 years ago because 6 years ago, I found out that an agent was stealing from one of my clients. And
it happens.
It was just a paper trail and me just paying attention to details like I would normally do. And so my client, of course, is like, you're my manager. I was like, sir, I don't do this. Now we're going to find someone. But the reason for that gap before I started the company is because I needed to learn this. I needed to figure things out and what this really, looks like. So that's how that happened. But that's from news. That's from not looking at everything on the surface, like really digging deep. Because short version, I asked my client, I said, hey, how much did you get paid for an appearance? He tells me the number. And I said, okay, it doesn't sound right. And I was like, are you getting your contracts from your agent? And he was like, no, we're good. And I said, you need to get every contract from your agent. Long story short, I had to call the company he had an appearance for. And, I just said, hey, I just want to make sure my client shows up and does everything he's supposed to do in the contract. And I get the contract. The number was doubled that my client originally received. So what the agent did was he took half and then still billed my client his 20% of what he told him the number was. So at that point...
Girl, who was this agent?
I'll just say now that, yes, it was in the news, but it was revoked. He's no longer an agent. The company, the agency he was with, they found out that was something he had been doing. It's super sad.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Yeah. So that's how that started. But again, it's just the way my brain was kind of taught on the news side.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I just look at everyone as like, oh, they're bad. But I'm always in protect mode.
Yeah.
Because everybody's coming after the athletes. And it's like, they're not even human. And I don't understand it. I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm always in protect mode with my clients because it just seemed like so many people have an agenda. They're not genuine. They really don't want to help them. They're trying to figure out how they can have the next leg up, how they can
They're
come
an
up.
opportunity for them.
Yeah. And so that's why I stay in that position. And I think once my clients learn that they know and get it, because they'll look at me, what do you think about them? Did you look at it? And so, it's more of me really vetting people in a situation, in a deal, because I know what was happening. And so it's challenging in trying to change it. So for me, I just want to show up and be my best self and make sure I look at every single thing and try to teach that to the client, to look at every single thing. It's not, everything you're not going to make $10 million. Like, if that was the case, I would not be sitting here now. So, yeah.
So let's talk about, the world of sports is far and wide. It's global. And there are a lot of opportunities that are really starting to visibly open up for women in sports. And this whole platform here is to really pull the curtain back on how women are making a impact on the world of sports and how they are so intricate in the ability for the different sports that everyone knows and love for them to thrive. So let's talk about the opportunities that are available for women in the sports.
I think that I've been on this side of it for 12 years now. And so I would...
And what side is that? Just so when people listening,
that is more on the business side of the game versus the 10 years I was on the media side of it. So I would say on the business side, when I say the business side too, I'm also speaking within women being able to coach now and, trainers and things of that nature. I would say 12 years ago, I saw a handful of women. And if I was at the table, typically I was the only woman. And then to see another woman of color, that it was far between you would, see that. I feel like the biggest thing that's changed is the men in the industry is truly recognizing our worth and our value, and they're starting to speak up. I do feel like a lot of the women, they have got in a position and they've sort of been afraid to speak up to bring another woman because they understand it took a lot for me to get here. And I don't want to lose that. I don't believe they don't want to open that door for another woman. They don't know what that looks like with them speaking up. But the more men who are speaking and having our back, it's given us power to say, this is who we need to bring to the table, and not have this fear of backlash that, we walk in tomorrow, we're done.
Yeah.
So I think that's been, the bigger difference. I think at first I used to be angry at certain women in the industry because I'm like, why didn't you say anything? Why won't you bring, until it started happening to me? And I'm like, you're like, okay, what's going to happen if I, say anything? But it is finding the right men who are respected by their peers and who are not afraid to say something in a room and say why it's important for Tommi Vincent to be at the table and hold that. It's still some men in the position still scared to say something, but I really feel like men are now saying, because my clients will, what's the problem? They will go in the room and say something and say, no, you need to talk to her and you're going to treat her this way. And they set the standard.
Yeah.
And I think I've had a lot of colleagues that have asked me, what was your conversation with your client for them to do that? And I was like, I didn't have a conversation with them. Like, they understand the importance. They understand my value. They understand why I should be in the room. And I've never had to sit down and talk with them and have this conversation. They just do it. And I think more men are recognizing that. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, this is important. And this is why they need to be here. And it is helping the women feel empowered to also speak up now and say, okay, yeah, I'm making room for, my female colleague at the table.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important for people with change and with progress to always remember, while the solution is simple, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's like the writing's on the wall, like this, all we need to do is X, Y, and Z. That the path is so full of debris that the process to getting there, it does take time. Mm-hmm. Because when you're clearing the way and creating a pathway where everyone can access it, you have to remove a lot of what existed before. Mm-hmm. And that does take time. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always appreciative and grateful for what is right to to be right.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do recognize that, we want to get it right.
Right.
We want to, when we're creating opportunity, we don't want it just for some of the others.
Mm-hmm.
We want it for all of the others.
Correct.
So I can appreciate that, and I value the willingness of everyone coming to the table to just do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. So in this segment of our conversation, I'm bringing her to the table with me, and this is your opportunity to give verbal flowers to another woman, for you know that you would not be where you are in your career without her fingerprint on your life.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I love that that's everyone's response. Literally, what you just said, every woman, there's been a force of women in the process. So I appreciate that. But there's one where you like, oh man, I remember back in 1952.
I've had different women come at different times for different seasons.
Yes.
But the consistent one who didn't understand any of it was been my mom. She would swear I'm the best at everything. And if you were to talk to her now, I don't think she can really explain my job.
Yeah.
But let her tell it, I'm awesome. I have to, she's the consistent one. No matter what I've gone through, no matter how many times I've fallen down, she is the cheerleader. Mm-hmm. She is like, okay, well, what are we doing next? Who I need to call? Who I need to fight? What, that's, my mom has this, burst of energy. And I have to remind her, Mom, today I just wanted to cry. And she's like, well, okay, what that's going to do? She's always like, let's go get it. Let's do it. Let's, And so I would say, she's been the consistent one. I'm not going to her to say, okay, Mom, did I write that press release correctly? What? But more of the bigger picture, this is the situation that occurred, and this was a huge win, or today I feel like I took a big L. And no matter what, she's going to make sure you remember who you are.
Yes.
And remember the attitude to have when you walk in the room. And that's why when people are like, who's Bonquisha? I'm like, so Bonquisha lives in me because of my mother, because a lot of people don't know this, but I'm super shy. And Bonquisha, I'm like, okay, you need to
girl,
get it together.
Where you at, girl? Where you at?
So Bonquisha is the person people typically meet because she will walk up to anyone and have a conversation. She can walk in any room. She's very, confident in herself. While Tamara is sitting there sweating and dying inside and oh my God. So she's that person. It's like if you go, in certain communities, and the community I grew up in, you would see a Bonquisha walking in the park. And she knows everybody. She's speaking to everybody. Yes. And she's the girl. And so, yeah, that's how Bonquisha actually came to life. Because my mom is like, you need to find somebody. Dig deep.
Girl, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. You supposed to be in the room too, just like them. And you're like, yes, ma'am. Okay. So, yeah.
Well, Tamara, is there anything that we have not discussed in our conversation that you would like to share with our listening community?
I would just like to say, I met you 4 or 5 years ago, and in Dallas, and to see, I just remember the idea and what you was thinking. And I remember you saying certain things and how you're now trash can, we're doing this, and just very this is what it is. And I've just admired how you have decided intentionally, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, and actually just do it. And honestly, that keeps me moving when I'm seeing this, because that wasn't that long ago. People may think like 4 or 5 years. That was not that long ago. Literally, I know
Girl,
some people. Yeah, but I know people who've had an idea 4 years ago, and when you see them, they're still
got an idea,
and I've seen you like, okay, well that didn't work, and adjust and roll with it, and that's just, it's been comforting because you've just owned it, and that's powerful for me, to just continue to look at, So I appreciate that. Just, I needed to say that. I think you're awesome. The platform you're creating, it's comfortable, and we don't have to, feel so corporate, and and I feel like so many women that I've seen you interview, I'm like, they would not be that comfortable if they were not with Tommi. They would not have said that. And it's amazing. And I'm so excited for you. And I'm just happy that you gave me this opportunity today.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And I am honored to have you at the table. I truly am. And I know you have a lot going on, and so it means the world to me that you carved out the moment to come and stay a while with me. And this table is about your words, her words. And so I'm grateful that you came to the In Her Words table and you had a conversation with us today. And you are welcome at this table anytime.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.